Welcome back to the Morning Blend. When our teenagers get behind the wheel, it's important for them to expect the unexpected. In fall, that can certainly mean a deer jumping out from the side of the road.
That happened to me a couple of years ago, and fortunately, I remembered the advice from our next guest. Ann Scallon is the publisher and editor of Before the Wheel. She's here with some ways to protect your teenage driver this fall, and I'm going to add in yourself as well. Good to see you.
Nice to see both of you.
Ann.
Yeah, I think I'm going to know the answer here, but the reason you should not glance even down at your cell phone this time of year is there's lots of animals, right?
Right, and so some big announcements from the DOT is that September, this past September, was the safest month in Wisconsin since World War II.
Wow.
What?
Yes.
Why do you think that was?
Wait, this September, did you say?
Yes.
This past September was the safest month on our roads in terms of car crashes and fatalities?
Mostly fatalities, yes.
Fatalities since World War II.
Yes.
What do you attribute that to?
Well, they said in the article that they're working a lot on, pulling people over, obviously, if they're drinking or speeding, but really focusing on the distractions, which we always talk about here. If you look at your phone, the officer says for 1 second, you're going 55 to 70 miles an hour. You're going to hit somebody.
I'm shocked that you're saying that now with today's texting and cell phone generation.
I know.
But cars are also safer.
Cars are safer, and people are wearing their seatbelts.
The lane stuff. I tell you, I feel like that saved me several times when I just didn't see someone and you hear the beep and you know.
Yes,
I think that those advancements have changed a lot too. So that's great, but we as people need to be smart as well. And one of the things, this area, Milwaukee's really, we're surrounded by wooded areas.
Right.
And this time of year, the environment is changing when it comes to animals.
Exactly. And they're running out on the road. And, the big thing is to just keep your presence of mind, as Tiffany did a couple years ago, and you lift your foot. If an animal comes in front of you, you lift your foot off the pedal. If you have to brake, you brake lightly. Whatever you do, do not swerve. Because if you swerve, you can roll over into a ditch, you can go into oncoming traffic or somebody who's coming up on your left side. And
here's that list again, as Ann said, if you encounter a deer or other animal while driving, remain in your lane. Lift your foot from the gas pedal, brake lightly. I did put my foot on the brake lightly, and I liked that because I felt like because in those moments you get a little confused on where your foot is. Yes. And sometimes you can accidentally hit the accelerator. I think if you don't put it over the brake at least. Do not swerve though out of your lane, even if you need to hit the animal. And that was the advice that you gave me. I was going 70 some miles an hour on 94. When a deer came out, it was late at night, it was dark. It wasn't even that late, but it was dark because it was this upcoming weekend 2 years ago. Same thing, just held tight, took my foot off the gas, and we went right through it.
Well, and that's what you say. Almost envision yourself driving through it.
Right.
And it sounds bad, and I'm sure it's awful, and it's still, but rather than swerving, you're putting yourself more in the path of danger by swerving off the road or into another vehicle.
And sometimes you said even hitting your brakes can change the projection of the animal sometimes too, right?
Right. And I think people get over worried that the animal on their front window is gonna kill them, and that's very unlikely. So
he's gonna be mad and kill you.
You've seen it in movies, that's why.
Exactly.
You've seen it coming in like,
Also the presence of mind of staying in the car.
Yes, this is
calling for help, because that's another way people get hurt, is they get out of the car, they want to check the car, they want to see if they can help the animal.
Turn your flashers on immediately.
I mean, you cannot help the animal.
No.
Get off the side of the road. There's nothing you can do for the animal. Do not get out to check on the animal. Do not get out to check your car. Put on your flashers, call 911, and get as far off the road probably as you can.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. One really important note about this is that 40% of collisions between vehicles and deer happen right now. So it's in this 6-week period between mid-October and the end of November. So this is a really important thing for us to be talking about. And Wisconsin is the 7th highest state in the United States that a driver will have a collision with a deer.
Right.
So we have a lot of that type of crashes happening on the road. Anything else you want to say about your specific
That's
experience?
it. I mean, just take that advice. Listen, and I remember before I went on a road trip, I've told Ann this a million times, but thinking about that over and over because I knew that there were so many deer I was seeing on the side of the road, and you never think it's going to happen to you. But if it does, you want to have thought about it so much that you just react because you don't have time to think in those situations.
True.
So think
Very
about
true.
it and then you do it. So here's where you can learn more about all the good things that Ann has to say. BeforeTheWheel.com. This time of year, tire pressure, check that up. Watch for wet leaves. All those things with the daylight savings ending, here in November. You want to make sure with getting dark earlier, you're really talking to your teens about all these safety topics.